Malcheski, left foot. It's a chance. It's a goal. And he's hooked a big one.
Hasn't got the carry. I think so.
This is big. This is really big. It's a dead set, massive moment. Gord's going to roll them through. He can. Come at the moment. Come at the champion.
Sydney are premiers.
What a team. That culture, the Bloods.
The Hawks have a score to settle for the pain they felt when the final siren sounded on September 29th last year. That epic grand final could have gone either way, but the difference between winning and losing was plain for all to see. The Swans' joy of victory, sealed by those two late goals from Goods and Malcheski, will stay with them forever.
Is that the grand final? Sydney are premiers.
A win tonight won't give Hawthorn atonement, but it will stop the grand final loss from haunting the Hawks. They'll show that they're back, bigger and better, pushing for the 2013 Premiership. Meanwhile, the Swans are doing what the Swans do best, winning away from the spotlight on their own journey to September. After being brutally exposed by the Cats, the Swans have been tackling ferociously, inspired by McVeigh, Jack, O'Keefe and Hannibal. It's the match we always look forward to, the one we pencil in at season start, the grand final rematch. And after one of the greatest grand finals of all time, this could be a battle for the ages. This is Saturday Night Footy.
First time they've been back here since the grand final premiership last year. The Sydney Swans are welcome on to the MCG Arena and have only won 2 of their past 16 games at this stadium, this great side. Once last year in the grand final, and prior to that back in round 19, 2009. Look for some great form out of them tonight, and of course the Hawks as well have been in really good touch this year, the Hawthorn Footy Club. They lost their first game of the year to Geelong, and since then it has been 5 consecutive wins. They are on top of their game. There is absolutely no question about that. We're looking for a fantastic contest here tonight, and can't wait to get this one underway as I welcome Luke Darcy and Matthew Richardson.
Looking forward to this one. BT, just watching that great piece on last year's grand final before, and you just realise this Sydney team, if you look at them this year, I reckon they're actually improved. Players like Parker has stepped up. Hanbury is having a better year than he did last year. Mike Pike, your man BT, he's improved. Big job for him tonight.
It is indeed. Cameron Ling is down with the coach of the Hawks, Alistair Clarkson.
Well, Clarko, given the result last time these two teams played, there's a big outside build-up. But do you make any mention of that before the game to the players?
No, not a hell of a lot, apart from the fact that everyone reads papers and listens to radios and that sort of stuff. So it's a big build-up to the game. You can't avoid it. But, in terms of what it's worth, it's just 4 points and another stepping stone towards trying to play finals footy later in the year and giving ourselves another chance.
Do you sense naturally amongst the group, though, there's a fair bit of anger to get a win over the Swans tonight?
No, not really. It's no different to any big games that you play, whether it's all the sides up the top. Whether you go to West Coast to play over there, or last week Adelaide was a big contest for us. I've obviously got Sydney tonight. We played the Cats. It's always a big build up to that game. So all those games, like players, including yourself, love playing in the big contests, and this is no different.
No, absolutely. And Brian Lake, how's he settled in, you think, last week coming into this game as well?
Yeah, listen, it's a great effort. 200 games he's played on the big monsters from opposition clubs, in terms of their forward structures all his career, so he hasn't had it easy. So to get 200 games is a super effort. Most of them obviously for the Western Bulldogs, but we're hopeful he can play a few more for us.
Thanks for your time, Clarko.
Thanks, mate.
Alistair Clarkson down there with Cameron Ling. A massive game, and this is just such a accomplished side, Richo. You know what you're going to get from every player on the list. You'll get a great contest. They're never out of the game at any stage, and expecting that to be the case again tonight.
No doubt. Jesse White there, he'll have to do a little bit of ruck work tonight with the big mummy not playing, and Hawks are a very dangerous team around the stoppages.
Look forward to getting this one underway on the other side of the break. It's the grand final replay, Hawthorn and Sydney.
Nothing
Yes, it's been an unusual year for coin tosses. Sometimes no coin at all, and tonight we have the Red Queen participating in the coin toss, part of Dark Mofo, of course, the Museum of Old and New Art down there in Hobart. Yes, the boys are a little scared. Brian Lake playing his 200th game. And
is that coin or toin?
Coin.
Yeah, thought so.
Did I say toin?
Yeah.
Did I?
It's a toin Cossett.
Heads is a call. Head it is. No worries. Good luck, guys.
So Sydney will kick to the left of screen.
Yes, and Kieran Jack makes his way back. They're great. That's an unusual side, isn't it? The Red Queen from the magnificent Mona Museum down in Tasmania. Of course, the link between Hawthorn and Tasmania, we know, is their major sponsor. And the grand final replay, nothing surer for me, Richo, than this will be a hot contest right from the start. We know the way Sydney play. They will just crack in from the start. I think Hawthorn at the moment are in a little bit better shape. I reckon they're in better form than the Swans. But there's the man, Nick Malcheski, who was the star and the hero of grand final day with that brilliant late goal.
And he's playing as well as he ever has, Nick Malcheski, this year. And as I said before, along with Parker and Hanbury, they're just probably a better team than what they were this time last year. So it's a lot to like about them. Look at this matchup on the wing out here at the moment. We can see Jetta and young Bradley Hill. That's an exciting matchup. And 200 games for that man, Brian Lake.
Yeah, he's been a super player, a dual Australian. Looking forward to seeing those two go head-to-head. Ted Richards goes to full-back, resumes the same role he played in the grand final on Buddy. Adam Goods is starting forward. Sean Burgoyne is going to pick him up. And Max Bailey, late inclusion for Brent Guerra.
Gone tall, Hawthorn, Hale and Roughead and Franklin all inside forward 50.
Up against Mike Pike, start of the replay. Kennedy with the clearance immediately inside 50. Going back was Gibson, Birchall. Onto the loose ball. Here is Pike, been a good touch this year. Bolton, fast hands. O'Keefe, the Norm Smith medalist from that replay last year. Isaac Smith has bowled over Puopolo, fast hands. Really good release from Gunston as well.
Big tackle there from Luke Hodge, the skipper. He is moving beautifully.
Hasn't kicked a goal for 2 weeks, this man here. The first time that has happened in consecutive games since his 6th and 7th games of his career, Buddy. Goes down towards Hill. One out, but once again, last line of defence it is. And this will be Bird. Drop the set up. Kennedy and Bird combine, and immediately the boundary line, the target.
Never gone 3 games in a row goalless, Lance Franklin BT either.
So he'll be keen to get things rolling. Franklin.
He loves the MCG.
Hanbury just down the line, and already Kennedy has touched the ball 3 times. Nurses a little ball to Bolton. So clean they are.
Having another solid year, Jude Bolton.
Reid and Gibson. Reid did well.
That's Sean Burgoyne at the moment, actually, BT. And I reckon they've rolled over opponents, and it was a bit of a mismatch. And Reid was smart enough. He was waving, going, I reckon I've got him in the air, I've got him in the air. And it was a clever kick just to give him the opportunity.
So a really difficult angle for Reid. And he'll have to kick it every bit of 51. Steps to the line a little bit right. Won't bend back enough. Has it got the journey? Yes, it has.
Sammy Mitchell spending a lot more time in the back half. He's got the kick in. Judy's, which foot will he go? He's a machine.
Depends which side he goes.
Yeah, it doesn't matter for him.
The right. It is unusual to see those sort of ambidextrous players in this modern era, isn't it? Like, you just cannot pick it with him.
No, he's the best in the business at either foot.
He's a right footer, but he often favours his left foot.
Yeah.
He swings onto it probably more than he does his natural foot.
He does. That wasn't any good foot there. Shields was in amongst it. Roughead did well, but Bruce came straight through the middle of them and finds Franklin, keeps his feet. He's well within range. The angle suits him, but he breaks the drought. Franklin kicks the first goal of the game.
Yeah, great call, BT. What a way to start this one. And there's your response. The champ says, don't worry about my form. I know where I'm at. I might have missed a few, Richo, but he's at his best isn't he, when he plays on, doesn't have to think about the shot. And he was always going to kick that. The second it left his boot, it went through post high. And that is as good a start as the Hawks could have hoped for.
Yeah, that's exactly what Buddy wanted. He's actually got Teddy Richards under the ball twice now, so a nice start for Buddy. And that's exactly right. Played on BT, didn't have to think about it, and he enjoyed that, the big fella. Hit the scoreboard for the first time in 3 weeks.
And you can see Gunston and almost half the Hawthorn side got around Buddy. They know how important that one was.
Pike in the middle. McKeith stripped. Handball. Bruce again, who set the last one up. Here's Hodge low. Just in front of it there was Smith. Oh, lets it go. Hanbury. Look at the slick handballing in there. Eventually they got caught, but still able to get rid of it. Now Hodge weaves his way. Bruce needed the quick release and Hanbury able to gobble it up. Real pressure. Jenner. Bruce again been involved in it all so far. Lukey Bruce.
Look how hot that footy is at the moment. You get it for half a second, you get tackled. You've got literally no reflex time to get rid of the ball. And as you'd expect, these two great sides are cracking in as hard as ever.
That goal from Buddy was like the one in the grand final last year.
It was. He loves the run, he loves the distance, and he loves the angle. Brad Sewell. Really hurt after that loss last year.
Hey, Lee, you spend a lot of time these days at ground level watching footy. Can you just notice already the step up in class? We're a couple of minutes into this game, but how hot this footy is already?
Absolutely, Das. This is almost finals like as we expected it would be between these two teams, but you've only got a fraction of a second to get rid of the ball, and players are so good, they're so clean, but even both these teams with their great players are finding it hard. And it's amazing when an umpire just plucks one of those out, though. When both teams are having a crack at the footy, just let it go, I reckon.
Jeez, every player's squeezed into a quarter of the ground here.
Now indeed. Sydney to Pike. Had to compete. Did well. Really, really well. Stratton then overrunning at Jenner. Hill did the sensible thing and he said the boundary line is my friend.
It's a great matchup, isn't it? Bradley Hill tracking Lewis Jetta. He's lightning too, Hill. And then you see Mike Pike there. Brilliant courage from both players. Stratton coming the other way.
Ben Stratton landing heavily in that as well. Lewis. Puopolo got it a little heavy and hard, and now the battle is on.
See Mike Pike has pushed the goal square there on Josh Gibson. He's really improved. Kicked a goal a game this year and taking a lot of contested marks, Mike Pike.
Going 53 for him.
Probably one you weren't a big fan of early days, Mike Pike, Bristol.
Well, early days I didn't think he could play much, and he's improved over the 5, 6, 7 year period that he's been there.
Came from Canada.
Yeah,
played a different sport.
I was asked the question at the time.
Probably should have given him a little bit of time.
I was asked the question at the time, what do you want him to wait 6 years to answer it, does? Mitchell, fast hands. Here's the man that replaced Mumford in Jesse White. Hanbury looking for the give and go, got it back. A little turn on the right. Gibson's got to go, and he did. Immediately to Mitchell. Just goes slightly back inboard to Isaac Smith. And
gee, that was a good kick. He had nothing on Mitchell, and to come back inboard and hit that target, that's a big weapon to have, putting him down back when he can use the ball like that coming out of 50.
Just see everywhere you look on the ground at the moment, one-on-one matchup, so having to work the hands here at half-back, the Hawks trying to free someone up.
And they find the free man in Lake Purchell. And now Lake has got to be precise. He is, and this is Bruce again. Look at that, didn't even wait for the whistle, went straight away. Brian Lake inside 50, Ted Richards in front, getting back Grundy.
That was a great contest from Buddy Franklin there. He was right out of the frame, put in the big ones and made sure this one came to ground.
Clever touch from Osborne. Gunston snaps from near the boundary. Great goal.
Oh, what a great snap by Jack Gunston. Gee, the players are good at those around the corner kicks these days, but Das called it. It was a great spoil by Franklin. He had to make a contest. He did. Came to ground level, gave his teammates an opportunity to keep it inside 50. Well done, Lance.
It's a good way to get back into form. Look at Franklin's effort there, right out of the picture. His last 10 steps, he made up about 4 metres, brought the footy to ground, and that's why Jack Gunston was able to kick that goal.
Yep, natural arc for him from that position. Oh, rough head, slick to Hodge. Hodge, a really good kick into the hot spot, off hands. Buddy for his second goal. Hawthorn on fire with 3 in a row.
Not a bad front and centre for someone who's 6'6". Smashed down by Max Bailey. They're doing the little things really well. Bailey was smart enough as well to make sure that footy wasn't marked. He was out of position. Have a look at this. Go back to the centre. Slick hands from Ruff, who stepped up as a midfielder on that occasion. But look at Max Bailey here. Pushed off the ball, came back. And the hands from Franklin to take that under that sort of speed, Richo, was a massive effort.
Yeah, Teddy Richards, as we know, he'll go at the ball in the air, and he made the decision to come off Franklin. Didn't have a bigger impact as he would have liked on the contest, and his opponent kicks the goal. Buddy's up and about 2 goals early when he gets in this sort of mood. Wouldn't like to be Teddy right now. They've isolated Buddy back.
Buddy Franklin with his 2 goals now ties John Coleman's career teller of 537, of course. He was the team of the century operator, John Coleman, and Buddy there already.
Did it in about 90 games, John Coleman.
98, I think it was, Richo. High ball inside 50 again here for the Hawks. And, of course, Buddy Franklin has played 168, inclusive of tonight's game. And he has got the start that all big forwards love. 2 goals in it, 3 for the team.
This is where Sydney, the Masters, they get off to a slow start. So already look at the amount of numbers they get around the footy. They just start applying tackle pressure. They'll try and slow the game down a bit. Make sure that this doesn't blow out to a 5 or 6 goal lead. Look at all the numbers around the contest. They're so good at reading the situation.
Their forwards just have really squeezed up into this quarter of the ground. Jesse White is on the wing, and he's their deepest player at the moment.
Almost 1/4 of the ground, all of the players are in.
They like to make it a contest, the Swans. Plenty of stoppages.
Look at their numbers standing on the defensive side of this pack, and Hawthorn's numbers on the attacking side.
And this is what they create. Second, third, ball ups, make it harder to get the footy out.
Heard the umpire's call there, so they let it go.
And they'll be happy with this now. They've already identified. They're so well drilled and so well coached. It's 3 goal to zip start, so they go into defensive mode. Now, that's everyone on the ground, Richo. It's a great shot in this pocket, and Sydney are dictating it. They're saying, we're not going to give you space. We're not going to have the next goal kicked against us in a hurry.
Hale has his turn in the ruck. Bailey, a late inclusion. The absence in this one of Guerra, who was a late withdrawal. And they go, Jack was upended a little unfairly, perhaps. They'll get the free.
They are right on here, the Hawks. Have a look at the aggression. Giving away a free kick here. That was Lewis coming through, trying to clean Jack up. Osborne with plenty of aggression as well.
Melcheski, who many regard as the man that sets up a lot of players. I remember being involved in a Collingwood team meeting 3-4 years ago, and they targeted Melcheski as the player that set most of their attack up.
Well, it's a good point you bring up, BT. He's metres gained when he gets the football. He's #1 in the AFL, so they like to get it into his hands.
So after his knees, he's back into that spot where he was a few years back,
Straight up, please.
Beautiful night for footy. If you're watching from outside of metropolitan Melbourne, benign. It's been 26 degrees here in Melbourne today. Superb night for footy. Quick hands on that occasion was initially from Parker. White's got to go. Head over it. Kennedy went instead, banged out with the ball. There is Parker. Sewell with a grappling tackle. Parker, a 3rd attempt. Now a 4th attempt by Parker. And the driving kick without a lot of thought. Hawthorn got numbers. Laken Gibson in control here. Gives it to the known left footer Gibson. His ball really wide to Duray. And eventually over the line.
Well, Alistair Clarkson will be pretty happy with the way this game has unfolded at the start, but he'll be acutely aware, as he was in the grand final last year, that you never ever have a comfortable lead against the Swans.
So Parker's milked one here, I reckon. I reckon he had a little half flop forward then. Well done to him. He sees immediately an opportunity out wide. And Sydney able to climb this up through Matner. Eventually got it off. McGlynn had a ping at him, the former Hawk. So nothing but behinds early on here for Sydney.
It's interesting that they've rotated Buddy Franklin off for a rest already. Richo started the game on fire, kicked 2 goals. They have gone till Roughhead's pushed deep. Max Bailey and Hale roaming around in the middle of the ground at the moment, but maybe just trying to give Buddy a full 4 quarters and a rest when he needs it.
He doesn't come off very often.
Bill Hodge is good with his foot.
Probably once a quarter, I reckon, Buddy comes off the ground.
Back to Hodge. You watch him just back on now, Buddy, but gives off this time to Hill. Hill a driving kick on the head of Roughhead. Armstrong was the 3rd man up in the contest. Did well in the spoil. Opportunity for Bale. The replacement for Guerra. Nails a 4th first quarter goal for Hawthorn.
Big Maxi Bailey. He has had some great moments this year. It's a brilliant story. 3 knee reconstructions. Found himself in the right place at the right time. Well done, Big Max.
Four goals straight already for the Hawks after last year's grand final where they kicked 11-15, Das.
Yeah, it's been an outstanding start. They've gone tall, brought Max Bailey in, Brent Guerra, the late omission. So far, it is all working beautifully for them.
There's Bailey down to Roughhead, who's playing that Rut Rover role in the middle. Mitchell, just such good form this year. Sam Mitchell.
I like the idea of Big Rough taking centre bounces, big frame. He's super athletic. He's great in the first 4 or 5 metres after the ball drops, and he's giving them nice presence at the moment.
Jure goes long and deep, and there's Hale, the other threat up forward. So all of them putting their hands up and said, I want a piece of the action.
Well, as Das just said, they have gone tall, and that was a good contested mark by David Hale.
So there you go. You can push, shove, you can do whatever you want these days, and the eyes have backed it off, I'm telling you, this weekend.
Do you reckon they've been told, BT?
Oh, there's no doubt. That same offence was penalised last week.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it should be. I'm saying
it should stay like this then.
Stay exactly as they've made the decision here. Here is Hale to make it 5 goals in 15 minutes of footy. Misses. So an electric start here by the Hawthorn Footy Club.
Sydney only taken 4 marks so far, so the Hawks are just doing a great job. Sydney can't get any momentum at all at the moment.
There's Bailey backing back.
Contact, Hawthorn!
Frontal contact.
Yeah, Jesse White just took his eyes off the footy, and that's a pretty obvious free kick.
Yep, to Bailey. Short one to Sewell. He made go back immediately by Grundy. So Brad Sewell. Little slow play here. 16 minutes expired on the clock. High ball. Here comes Hale again. A good run at it. Melcheski was there. Ran him under the ball fairly and disguised it nicely. Players converge again. And that one won't come out of there.
Every Sydney player is in Hawthorn's forward 50 at the moment. So they're really trying to cramp them up. There you can see that's every Sydney player.
And again, Bolton this time. Kennedy spinning pirouette out of trouble. Did really well, but the kick wasn't so good on that occasion by Matner. And now Birchall, look at the low thing across the ground to Gibson. Isaac Smith on the left as well. Hill can run and go. Does he take Jetta on? Not the one to take on. Went really low with the ball. Smother. Hill comes back for a second bite. They attack him. They maul him. And he had prior opportunity. Here's Armstrong. A really good user of the footy for Sydney to McGlynn.
It's just a foot race back now because they've got every player up.
Good, strong jukes.
2 metres, Brian, 2 metres. That's it.
Not beyond him here, Adam Goods. He's looking intently on a lead. He creates one. There was no lead, and so what he did was put it into space and said, Kennedy, come and get it.
It's really smart play, isn't it? Right across the ground. They have got everyone back, strangled the Hawthorn forward line, and then got on their bike, as Richo said, and just ran as hard as they could inside forward 50. And you pointed out the kick from Adam Goods, perfectly weighted for Kennedy.
20 seconds.
So first really good opportunity here for Sydney with only just under 8 minutes on the clock remaining in the first quarter. Their star midfielder, Kennedy, and lets it out to the right. Virtually no wind here tonight. The flags on top of the scoreboard are very limp. Gibson now drives to the wing. High long ball. Hale in front, brought it down nicely. Bruce was there. Tapped to Puopolo, who's had a lot of the ball already. It's the 6th time it's been in his hands in this quarter. Has he made enough effort? The umpire said no. Free kick against Puopolo, furious.
Arm was free when you took it to ground. Must make a genuine attempt.
There you go. There's the explanation. Jeddah to Rampy. Right on the RAV4 logo there. And now a ball inside 50 goods. One hand, couldn't get it in the end. Opportunity, that was Parker with the one hand. Jesse White, Mitchell kept his feet. Really good, he's excellent by foot. Puopolo back inside. This is the run of Hawthorn. We love this, Bruce. Outnumbered in the end as Grundy tidies up.
Trying to think of the last time I've seen the Sydney Swans get a hiding, a 10-goal loss or get blown away. Hawthorn are way on top in this game. They're dominating everything as that footy's turned over. But you watch the Swans' ability just to limit the damage. Reminds me of the grand final last year. Hawks got out to a 19-point lead. They were well on top. They had a goal that could have been paid on the siren that was disallowed. But Swans kept themselves in it, Richo, and as we know, in the end, we were able to get the job done on grand final day.
Knock away from Hale, but he had another go. Hodge somehow finds space when there was none. And there's a ball into space, gives an opportunity. Clever little tap from Osborne. Bruce along the ground. Armstrong couldn't get there, or Jeddah it was. Great goal from Bruce.
Yeah, well played, Luke Bruce. Hawthorn fans out of their chair here. They are very excited about what they're seeing. Massive start in this game for the Hawks.
Really interesting the way that Hawthorn are using that man there, Luke Hodge. He spent 7 minutes on the bench, which is massive for a rotation for a midfielder, but Hawthorn are trying to use him in real bursts, let him have an impact on the game. He was the one who got the entry in there for the Bruce goal. He's going to play a huge part in tonight's game, and I'll be watching how Hawks use him on the bench.
Bruce, 89th goal, second only to Buddy. 166 goals to Buddy at Hawthorn since 2011. So he's a significant contributor on the scoreboard. That one didn't get to Hale.
Yeah, John Longmire doesn't want the Hawks to get another goal here. He's put Sam Reid back as a loose player in defence.
Keith goes wide. Pike's got to do it in the air against Bailey, I think it was, in front. Or was it Stratton? It was Stratton, and he does well.
Thanks, Mike.
So now Pike. Some distance to cover here, at least 50 metres though. He really didn't get any body on Pike then. He lost him.
What do you reckon, the left-hand post here, BT?
Yeah, I reckon
they've been sliding off to the right so far.
Anywhere left of centre. Pike comes in and sends it way too far. Hooked it in that motion.
Swans' biggest ever loss under John Longmire is 46 points, and it was to Hawthorn about 18 months ago. So even though this has been as good a start as you could hope for, you know history says that they will be right in it.
There's another little bit of a push in a marking contest, BT.
Yeah, all okay.
Yeah.
All okay.
Yeah, it was
Great
fine.
decision by the umpire there. That's good strength in a marking contest.
We all
Gotta
like
let
it,
them
Lingy.
go.
We all think this is the way it should be. I'd love
Just
them to come
why?
out and say, hey, you know what, we have rewired the interpretation. And
Because the rule clearly says in the rule book that effectively you can't do anything, make any contact at all. But we all know the interpretation of that has never been that.
Yeah.
And so continue on. No one change. Osborne from the back. Big fly. And they're umpiring very sensibly here tonight on that rule. Hill, Puopolo, Gunston and now Sewell. Bangs it long. Rough head in the one out. Did well. Knocked to ground. Kept it going. Was it socket or did it hit the post? Let's have a listen.
We'll go off anyway. Will you please have a score review? We believe it hit the post. We just want to confirm. Thank you.
See the ricochet at the pointed post.
Wait till we get the signal.
It did look like it was off the post.
Yeah, definitely.
Just wait till we give the signal.
Completed from behind.
If it's a point.
So definitely looked like...
Review completed. Behind,
yeah. And a right call there.
Well, that's a good example of the score review working effectively. Lee Matthews raised today that he is going to take to the Rules Committee that if it ricochets off the goalpost and goes through,
that would have been a goal.
Should be a goal. Yep, ricochets off the goalpost and bounces back into play. It's play on. He's saying scrap the score review. Like it goes through.
It's like rugby. If it hits the upright and goes through, it's allowed.
It at least takes out that part of the controversy, doesn't it? Got it right then, though.
Takes out a lot of tradition, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
Hitting
does.
the posts always.
Yes, it does. Gee, McGlynn got attacked high by his former teammate at Hodge, and some words exchanged as well.
And Lee's all over the way that they're using Luke Hodge. You can see when he's fresh, he's got that power and aggression just to attack hard. He's dangerous around the contest. It makes sense. Just get him on for bursts, and as Lingy said, he's going to have a big impact when you get a little bit of a break into it.
Richards over the top to Rampy. Just on the true half-back position here, Rampy. Just in his 5th game of his career. Ball out to McVeigh. First time I've really seen him tonight. Effective kick, a little lucky, some would say, and the umpire says get on with it. In the end, Bird ran himself into a bit of a hole and caused McVeigh to be tackled, but it was too high. The big rough is rather upset.
To try and get Lewis Jetta into the game. And he had the one kick so far and hasn't been able to find any space at all yet.
Goods will send this long and deep. Getting back is Pike. Flies, double grab, got it in front of Gibson, no punch. Gibson pleading his case that he got a hand on it. He actually asked the umpire. He sort of did, but you pay those.
Yeah, you have to pay that. Good effort, Mike Pike.
It's his second contested grab.
So Pike from 15 metres out, kick on the way. Sydney get their first goal, the 25-minute mark of the first. Mike Pike. 2:15 remaining in the first quarter. Sydney's first.
Taking the most contested marks in the comp this year, Mike Pike. I was surprised more than Travis Cloak. So that shows you how much he's improved, BT.
Yes, he has improved. That's
You sure you've got that stat right?
Well, I hope it's right. I'm not, because I've just gone
suggesting it's another one, but that just has knocked me off my chair. That's amazing.
Puopolo out of the middle.
He was one behind Cloak going into this game, Darce, and he's taken 2.
Good mark by Armstrong.
That's a surprise, though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I would have thought Cloak would have been way out in front.
The former Crow. Armstrong goes to Smith. Nick Smith already up with the 81st game. Just a little chiseler wide, and he finds Matner, another former Adelaide player.
Just holding them up beautifully, Hawthorn.
Yeah,
Can't get any run at all.
Hawthorn have just allowed them absolutely no exits. You haven't got Matner and these guys being able to run off half-back. It's really great defensive effort by the Hawks, and that's what they've kicked their goals on the back of really good defensive structure.
Yeah, Malcheski only the 2 disposals as well, Lingy. They've been able to shut him down. Is Osborne doing a negative forward role?
Yeah, he certainly is, Richo. Doing a great job.
Jack sends it forward bound. It was not to the advantage of these forwards, though.
That's something that man there, Brian Lake, has done as well as anyone as a defender, Richo, in the last 10 years. You played on him a lot. He reads the flight of the ball sensationally well.
Yeah, as a defender, he backs himself to try and mark the footy, and Matty Scarlett used to do it a lot as well. They're probably the best 2 defenders at just going at the football, playing it on its merits.
Great fist by Lewis to get it to Osborne, and now Hodge. Hodge had to be precise with that kick. A clean bowled, buddy.
They don't get preoccupied with their opponents. They just, if they see the ball and they think they can mark it, they go for it.
Closing in on quarter time. Under a minute remaining. Wanted the free, Jack. Umpire said get on with it. Gave it to Hanbury at the back door. He kicked high, but Birchall combining there with Lake and Gibson goes backwards. An opportunity for the Hawks to move it here. Just over 30 seconds remaining. A little one from Burgoyne to Gibson.
Bit of candy from Gibbo.
It was to the left and went back right. Now a high ball on the header. Hill. Lewis able to work it backwards into the hands of Sewell. Will get a look, had to get rid of it quickly. Armstrong did well, got tackled high initially. Unlucky not to get a free. McVeigh now trying to bust out of trouble. Kennedy, Jack, and eventually O'Keefe around the corner. And I think they'll run out of time here to score the Hawks, or will they? As Duray gets it in, they will. Isaac Smith is a big kick at the footy. Siren sounds. He will cover the distance.
Must go on a straight line, mate.
He is a monster kick. Isaac Smith from 51 metres out. Kick on the way, no troubles with the journey. How straight is it? He has missed. So 5-3-33 Hawthorn. Sydney 1-4-10. Big start. Hawks kicked the first 5. Sydney got just the 1. Cracker game. Take a break. Back with more in a moment. As we take a look at the scores. 5-3-33. Sydney 1-4-10. By the way, Sydney won't mind that. A score of 1-4-10 was precisely where they were at quarter time in last year's grand final. Lingy, Hawthorn very physical with the Swans in that first quarter.
Oh, they certainly were, BT. Don't tell me that they don't have memories of last year's grand final. The Hawthorn players, they have that deep burning anger all pre-season. They wanted a shot at the Sydney players. In that first quarter, they certainly came out with that. They really physically attacked the Sydney players. Their tackling was ferocious. Luke Hodge going a little bit high there, but his intent was to really put physical pressure on his Sydney opponent. They just threw everything they possibly could at the Swans. Body contact galore. I'm tipping that it's not going to stop either. They are really, really hungry. They want to make sure they make amends for last year.
Yeah, it was a real standout, Lee, sitting up here as well. It was this great aggression. Hodge came through and collected a few. Osborne, and you could just feel that, righto, this is our chance. First time we play them again. Let's make sure they know that we're up and about. The tall forwards is the other thing that I think's worked well for them. You can see Hales going down there, Roughhead starting forward. You've got Gunston, who's medium to tall forward, and you've got Buddy Franklin. So I think they've decided, you know what, we'll stretch the Sydney defence and we're prepared to go longer than we did in the grand final.
Yeah, and they've been able to hold the Swans up from half-back. Can't get any run at all from that man Malcheski there, because Osborne is playing a negative role and doing it well so far, BT.
Start of the second quarter. Hawthorn by 23 points. Kennedy's ball was immediately smothered by a desperate Hodge. It's been in this game so far. Now, has he made an attempt? Did he have an opportunity? The umpire said all of those. Isaac Smith.
Not sure how he could even see under that pack if he was trying to get rid of it.
They pounced him. I didn't think there was prior opportunity, Richo. High ball, top of the square, Roughhead.
They are really, really stretching the Sydney defence. They are just isolating the smallest defender, who is deep. And on that occasion, Roughhead was the one. Here's the free kick further up the ground. Prior opportunity, they piled on over the top.
Tough, isn't it?
That's pretty tough, yeah. Big rough, that was a great mark.
To make it a 29-point lead, it should be at the punt road end, and Roughhead does just that.
Getting a good contribution out of their whole forward line at the moment, spreading the load down there. Hale's taking a mark inside 50. Ruffy, Buddy's already kicked the 2 goals, both from play. Osborne doing a good job on Malcheski. So that forward 50 for Hawthorn is going beautifully at the moment.
So it's Dan Rampy who they're able to isolate there as the most vulnerable defender, and Roughhead went straight to the goal square. Rampy's gone on to Hale, and so Hale's doing that at the moment. Hale's playing full forward.
He's only 189 centimetres, Rampy, so he's giving away 10 centimetres to David Hale.
Shields in amongst all of that. Here's Roughhead again. Remember, he's a left footer. He pounces. He sends it punt road bound. 2 in a row for the Rough.
He enjoyed that, big Ruffy. 2 goals in a minute. Less than a minute. He's looking very nimble at ground level too, Ruffy. A couple of clearances. Great work.
A whopping 35-point lead. Now, that was Jordan Lewis on the Roughhead, and Roughhead went back to him and said, mate, that was your goal.
And now they're isolating Roughhead, so they're trying to expose them deep, Hawthorn.
35-point lead, O'Keefe through the middle, so Sydney not firing here at the moment. Burgoyne there, Kennedy quickly around the corner, but it'll be Gibson to get back, and he first of all protects the goal line, or does he? No, he didn't. It bounced and went around him. Unbelievable, and then the post got in the way.
He's a bit stiff there, Gibbo. Just wouldn't.
Oh, look at him.
He's got a laugh, actually. That was a Shane Warne leg spinner there.
He can't believe it, can he? He was actually going to grab it and play on because he was so sure he had it covered. And that is what the oval-shaped ball can do. It got great height. I think he couldn't believe how high it went. And then just at the last minute, he's got his hand close to it. But no argument from Josh Gibson. If he had got a fingernail on it, he would have been just going berserk. But what a bounce.
He hasn't lost his sense of humour.
3 goals in 3 minutes. Just started off. Hale wins against Pike.
There's Ruffy in the middle now. Darcy's become a real valuable asset in this role. He's had a couple of clearances tonight.
Particularly when you've got Goods running around as a midfield. You've got Josh Kennedy, who's basically the size of a power centre-half forward. So it's a good move having another big frame in there in Ruff.
What about Goods? The fend-off against Mitchell then was really impressive. There's White. They need him to fire tonight. Gibson to Hodge. And that right boot out wide, McVeigh. Shields kept his footing. McVeigh left the ground. Gave him a 5-metre start, and that's where it's at now. Shields goes long. Buddy sits over the top here. Bailey there as well. Buddy and Richards and Buddy. Buddy just bores through 1-2. Bang! Buddy's got 3. Brutal Buddy Franklin play.
What a superstar this man is, and that was brilliant stuff. Great to watch him, Richo. Have a look at the recovery. Richards actually played it pretty well. He got back on his horse, but Buddy just said, I'm good enough to burst through a couple. See you later, young Rampy. I'm just going to power through you. And do you reckon he hasn't read the press this week about being out of form? You can't keep him down for too long.
And boys, we won't have seen this, of course. I wasn't involved in the play, but on this side of the ground, Bradley Hill took off at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Unbelievable run, but Lewis Jetta went with him. Those two easily would have done it right in their final of the Olympics. They were flying, and Hill ended up in the goal square as an option, wanting to kick the goal. But that was impressive enough to watch.
Unusual taggers like Lingy, aren't they? They watch where the ball isn't. So unusual method of watching the game is Lingy, but that's why he's good. And here he is.
Here they are now, right on cue.
Absolutely. By the way, 3 entries inside 50 of the Hawks. 3 goals as Gibson marks. 35-point lead now with the Hawthorn Footy Club.
Just watching Sam Reid. He could have got involved in a marking contest in their previous inside 50. Didn't fly at the ball, and I reckon when you've got the ability to take marks like he has, he's just got to back himself in and fly for everything down there.
Bailey ran out of bounds. Got the shepherd from Burgoyne, but didn't leave enough space for the big boy.
Big fan of Big Max. I think his recovery from free Nericos is incredible, but I'm not sure playing on around the mark at half-back is
his go.
In his go, just at the moment, Max.
Not quite in the repertoire.
Probably give it to Burgoyne there and let him
just about
do that.
Big Maxi, I guess when it's a bit of a Hollywood opening here, you have a crack at things like that as a big man, Das. McVeigh. Matner now around the corner. Good-looking ball to Reid. Should he have hung on?
Yeah, I reckon he's just a bit down on confidence, Sam Reid. He'd normally mark that football.
We have had goals kicked in the 1 minute at the 1 minute mark of this quarter, another one at the 2 minute mark, another one at the 3 minute mark, and another one at the 4 minute mark. 4 goals in 4 minutes. That is top quality football. 3 of those belonging to Hawthorn. There's Jetta. Through he goes. Ties up Isaac Smith. Scrappy affair. This is the way Sydney historically have liked to play.
Yeah, the Hawthorn forwards have pressed right up now. Two Gunstons on the wing. You can see Franklin, he's got involved in the stoppage there.
Matner. Half-back line. Now they try and spread the Hawthorn defence as much as they can. Over to Grundy. Grundy just around the corner, finds Bird. Bird at half-back. So Sydney have now effectively spread the Hawthorn team across 2/3 of the ground. Now find a way through. Beautiful slider to Richards. Got Armstrong running over the top. Now they've created that loose man through the middle. Here they go, although decided not to press the trigger. Back inside to Matner. Matner to Grundy. Grundy wants to go. Penetrated it. Go inside 50. Not great direction in the kick.
Let's get down to the Doc. We're talking about Sam Reid. Doc, how is his health at the moment?
He's got a sore right calf, does he? He may have actually brought it into the game. He's been getting a lot of work on it during the game. I reckon it's distracting him. It's just he's got no strapping on it, but I don't reckon he's moving that well, Reid.
Backdoor Isaac Smith again, working there with Kieran Jack. How much treatment has he had, Doc? You mean the medicos have been out 3 or 4 times already?
It's the physios and massage people working on it, Brian, at the breaks, and when he's, especially at quarter time, he had a lot of work on it.
Yeah, I've been watching him. He's had the opportunity to go for a couple of marks and he hasn't, so there's something distracting him for sure.
Good. The strength to hold on in the tackle and still get rid of it was really smart. Now Jetta with a bit of a blast around the outside. High ball. Jesse White is deep. Couldn't get a run of it. Really well blocked by Lake. Here's Reid. Carried over the behind line. Hawthorn player hurt himself falling over there in Stratton. Gets up and a little corky in the right thigh, perhaps. Duray. Stratton not having the best of nights at the moment. .34-point lead, not the biggest margin of the game. It was 35.
Position, you've encroached.
So that's that new rule where you're not allowed to start a metre apart, and I have to say I'm not a massive fan of that as well. I mean, it's just too technical. Who was there first? Who was there second? This game's been played beautifully and umpired beautifully, but
so just to explain to us, Stars, why have they done that? What's the idea?
They want to stop
it?
the image of ruckman wrestling.
I don't like the look of it.
I don't like the look of it. No. And look, I can't understand, but just pay a free kick. If it's a push, it's a free kick.
McVeigh with the interception. He's got runners everywhere. Inside is McGlynn. And McVeigh whispers and says, go easy, McGlynn, though, wanting to find the pass. I tell you what, it had to be good. It was to Ryan O'Keefe. Directly in front.
Well, mate, you've got to come back.
First time, I think, tonight, the umpire squares Ryan O'Keefe. I can remember seeing a genuine lead-up forward from Sydney and a kick inside. They've just been under the pump from the first bounce, and that will give them a little bit of heart. A more standard build-up.
35 metres out, Ryan O'Keefe. He just strokes it beautifully for a much-needed one for Sydney.
Yeah, beautiful kick at goal. Ryan O'Keefe. Great hands, too, out in front. It was coming with a bit of pepper on it, the kick from Benny McGlynn, and took it beautifully.
Two of the last 3 goals for Sydney.
Massive work rate from Ryan O'Keefe. We know how hard he works, but the interesting thing is he rides his bike to training every day as part of a 1.5 to 2 hour bike ride he does every day. Just an absolute fitness fanatic, and it shows out in the field with his massive engine.
Does it ever. Jetta. Squirt out the back. Here he is, the man Lee spoke of, the bike rider. Matner.
It's been a really different game tonight. This is Kieran Jack, who ran into his own teammate. The umpires have generally umpired really well. They play on and letting stuff go that, you know, is innocuous, and I like it.
Do you ever consider the Lycra Lingy riding down to Catland there?
No, I often gave that one a miss, BT. Happy to have the drive in and sing along with a few songs.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, Johnny Longmire's taken Nick Malcheski from the ground, and Osmond came off with him. He's in for one of those nights, Nick, where he's going to have a hard tag to try and get him into the game, the Swans.
Third man up, beautifully created by the Hawthorn side then, as Lake went uncontested in the end. As Stratton quickly flicked it out. It may not have been Lake, was it? Was Lake involved deep in defence there? Opportunity for Duray, goes down the line a little heavy, few up below. Armstrong does well and found the boundary.
Keep the meter!
Just had a shot of John Longmire in the box before. One thing you know about the Sydney side under Paul Roos and John Longmire is that they don't change their tactics very often. They will just try and grind away, get this back to within 4 or 5 goals. At the moment it's 28 points. They'll just feel as though if they can just chip away, get a goal back, as long as they're within striking range, they will keep doing what they always do.
There's the best contested mark in the AFL at the moment, Mike Pike.
So you've confirmed that, Richo, have you?
Yes, it's confirmed. For this year, he's taken more than Cloak.
Reid got hands on it again then, but couldn't clamp it up. That's got to be out of bounds. Inside 50s, there they are. Hawthorn with the advantage there. Ruckwork, White. Did well. Down to Kennedy. Little handball off. McGlynn along the ground. He got met as well, so the goal will count.
There's just one that they chip back. The Swans, they keep playing the percentages. Benny McGlynn, the former Hawk, missed out on last year's grand final. It would have been devastating for him. He's absolutely in their best 18 for mine, Benny McGlynn.
So McGlynn kicks the goal, got a bit of treatment, no problems there. They've kicked 3 of the last 4, Sydney, and all of a sudden they're back within 22 after trailing by 35 early in the quarter. White in the middle, Lewis. Now Hodge, Osborne to give chase. Arriving first is Rampy, went past him. Now Malcheski under Osborne pressure. Isaac Smith was a little uncertain what to do. Gee, surely didn't kick or handball that. It had to be incorrect disposal. Malcheski now. Ground level Bird did well. Sewell in front of Hannanbury, and I think he hoped it had gone over the line. Gunston, quick hand, something out of nothing. Now Stratton to a dangerous spot. Shields strong over the top. McVeigh went with him. Look at Roughhead. A lovely claw. Gave it off to Gunston. He sees nothing but goals.
Nice finish, Jack Gunston, but well set up by Jared Roughhead. Made something out of nothing inside forward 50. He's having a really good night. Ruffy's getting it done. He's in the middle. He's had clearances. He's taken marks, and now he's setting them up for his teammates. And a quick answering goal for the Hawks.
Great goal to Jack Gunston there. The Hawks get it back out to 28 points. That man we're just having a look at on screen there, Dane Rampy. They've put a lot of work into him tonight, Rich. They're really trying to isolate him as their most inexperienced defender. It's only his 5th game of AFL football. They keep taking him deep to the goal square and isolating him. They do it again now. Whoever his opponent is, they isolate Rampy one-on-one.
Hannanbury quickly around the corner here into neutral territory on the wing. There's Duray. Beautiful handball. Shields able to tuck it and run. Buddy, it was a little heavy for him, but he kept it in front. He did really well. Nick Smith ran into a brutal crunching tackle. Quickly down to Doc Larkins.
Yeah, David Hale is down the race, BT. Hyperextended his left knee. He's got pain at the back of the knee, just where the hamstring goes into the knee. He's down with the Docs now. Good
news there for the Hawks. Lewis with the 3rd man up. And that's what teams are doing these days. The umpire's saying who's rucking to get the separation point, and then the third man comes up.
No, you think that just complicates something that doesn't need to be complicated?
Well, the coaches have already exploited that in no time, haven't they?
Yeah.
Jesse White with the double-hander to the front once again. It's Gunston. Matner. Beautiful kick of the ball is Matner to Jeddah. So that Gunston goal just stopped the flow that Sydney had going as they clawed their way back to within 22. Let's go back down to Doc Larkins.
Yeah, Brian, you just see him, well, actually he slips there. You can see him grab the back of the knee. He's just been downstairs. He's sitting on the bench at the moment, David Hale. He's had a look. It's just a little pinch of the muscle. They reckon he's all right to go.
Great get, Doc. Well done, well spotted. When no one else did, Doc was all over it. Shields copped one high. Umpire was unsighted and not able to clearly see that.
Thanks, guys.
Umpires tonight, Jeff Dalglish. There is Hale, Matthew Nichols and Simon Meredith.
Went with the hair hat for a little while, David Hale, and decided that not for him anymore, Richo.
Yeah, he's decided to get rid of the rug.
So, if you're in the same situation, Das, would you be going for the hair hat or not?
Got a fairly healthy rug, Bristol, so not an issue for me, but the Al Natural, I think you've just got to concede, Richo. It's probably something that you might have to address.
I'll definitely have a look at a rug in a few years. There's no doubt about that.
With a nice dark coloured one, Richo, just to completely look out of context.
I might go see Brent Guerra and...
Yeah. Over the line, throw it in here. Hawks by 28. Almost into red time in the second.
Thank you.
For those that just joined us, first quarter, fast start by the Hawks. They kicked 5 goals in 20 minutes of football before Sydney could register their first goal. Adam Goods put McVeigh under Hodge pressure. He had no prior opportunity.
Thanks, guys. No prior. Great tackle.
Just picked up on the umpire Mike's there. Did you hear Luke Hodge around the contest? He just put his hand up and said, hey, we win this contest now, boys. I want to make sure it goes our way. You wonder why that man's a captain of his footy club. He's a natural leader.
Well, still no winner out of that action yet. And Hodge had to go and do it himself, Shields. So almost a win there for the Hawks. Still no winner in it. It's just an absolute scrum of players. Gibson and Pike. See big Pike, he just, like a big tractor, ran over the top of him. No reverse gear. Now he'll love the space. Here comes McGlynn. A really good shepherd off the ball. Gave an opportunity for Hill to go forward. Hawthorn player down. Crowd wanted a free. Puoplo went without the footy in the end. Smith gave it off to Rampy. Here's Jeddah. Can he go? Yes, he does. Gibson decides to corral Jeddah without a lot of thought down the throat of Lake.
They've just got a great setup at the moment. The Hawks, it's either Lake or Gibson, and they're just controlling their play down in their back line.
See, this guy gives the Hawks a lot of run, doesn't he? Zach Smith. Beautiful kick to Roughhead, who's on fire, although perhaps he should have slowed a little, Ruffy. Grundy to Richards. Richards waited for Grundy to get back in the field of play. Very intelligent stuff. O'Keefe with a clean pick-up. Now they're away. White takes the bounce down the wing. A high ball once again, but just playing into the hands of the Hawks.
If they keep doing this, Sydney, they won't score. They're kicking it long inside their forward line, and Gibson and Lake are just patrolling there on their own. They'll just rebound every time.
And this management has been sensational, Hawthorn. They go and pluck what they need, and Brian Lake just adds so much to this side already. Reading the play, taking marks in defence. When they come up against a big power forward, they've got someone who is a specialist at playing that role.
Interesting that he wasn't an automatic selection when Schoenmakers was available in that last game where he did his knee, wasn't he?
Just worried about his fitness. He's coming back from the calf strain and probably just managing, making sure they've got him at the right time of the year.
Jure dropped a sitter in the middle, gives Reid a little chance, and now to Goods. Can he bust the Burgoyne tackle? Yes, he can, but they kept him tight on the kick. Now the wee man McGlynn, around one, fed the handball off. Hawthorn keep the feet. Mitchell, Hodge involved, and have a look at this. Osborne all by himself. Armstrong gives chase. No closing down. Puopolo on the march. Roughhead wanted it. Surely he's run off the mark and eventually gets it. The umpire said not 15. Roughhead on his favourite boot. He was off balance. It was the Michael Jordan fade away by Big Rough. Nothing he can't do.
Oh, Big Ruffy. He's kicked 3 goals now, and along with Lance Franklin with 3, they're having a huge impact.
Well, Jared Roughhead is, I believe, makes Hawthorn a 4 or 5 goal better team. When he's on fire up forward like he is tonight, he's kicked 3 goals. Remember in 2008 he kicked 75 goals and was a super forward. When he's up and firing, the Hawks are very, very hard to beat.
Well, here comes Buddy from about 5 deep. Roughhead, strangely enough, wanted to be the little front and centre then, so Rough even thinks he's a rover. He's going that well. Oh boy. Rough. There's Hale. Birchall, little hand candy underneath. It was nice. The Hawks again. Kennedy this time intercepts the Osborne intended pass. Goods. Bolton and Gibson one-on-one. They hold each other. Umpire lets them go. Oh, look at Bolton put his head over it. Dropped it high. Snuck it in front of Hodge. And Hodge said he slid in under me. No, Hodgie. He had the head there first. You arrived second. Bolton, long and deep. Flying on that occasion was Parker.
I love that contest between Jude Bolton and Luke Hodge, 2 of the toughest footballers on the entire planet. You'd almost pay your money just to watch those types of contests between those types of players.
Happened right in front of you, Lingy. Was there any words spoken?
No, a lot of respect for each other between those two. They both know they play footy the right way. They both respect each other, but they love going hard at it.
More tackles than anyone ever to play the game, Jude Bolton.
Holds the record in the game, doesn't he? 19, I think.
Yeah, and the most of all time, so that's how he's gone about his footy.
Just saw John Longmire there going off on the phone. I think he's at the point of frustration, pointing the finger. I reckon he's really concerned with their forward line at the moment. Sam Reid's struggling. They're not getting the really good lead-up option at any stage, Richard.
They can't get any deep entries. They just can't get past the 50-metre line at the moment. And as we've talked about already, Gibson and Lake. If Lake's just sitting back there now patrolling the back 50, they're never going to get through.
Actually, Mitchell in heavy traffic then was great. I know the kick landed with Grundy, but she is good.
Let's push Jesse White forward, who was a late inclusion in this side, not for the late withdrawal. So White's going to play forward at the moment.
So there's another entry to the 50, and it's pretty hard to score there.
Yeah, you're right. There's Kieran Jack. Isaac Smith over him. Probably could have almost got a free Bruce. A beautiful release to Hodge. Short ball to Puopolo. They had to wait and hold up the play a little. Handball back over the top to Bruce. He's a good runner. He looks inside, saw Mattner and got it inside and found Gunston, who has already kicked 2 goals.
Gee, that was a good kick. Perfect kick from Bruce. His teammates are getting around him and didn't blaze away. He didn't have a lot in front of him. You can see him there. He spotted Gunston and executed on his non-preferred side too.
With the tackler hanging off him in the end.
This guy's taller than what you think. He's 190, Jack Gunston.
To make it a whopping 40-point lead here with 3 minutes remaining in the half, and it wasn't his greatest kick, but it's a goal and Hawthorn by 40.
Yeah, nice finish, Jack Gunston. Actually 193 centimetres, so he's 6'4". And with Roughhead, Hale, Franklin, a lot of marking power inside that forward 50. 4 genuine marking targets at the moment. You've got Puopolo and Osborne roaming around, putting forward pressure on. It's a good setup inside forward 50 tonight.
Just have a look at this kick from Jack Gunston, Richo. Yeah, it's gone through about head height. I think if someone was standing on the line, they would have touched it. The Swans defenders, it's very uncharacteristic of them to not do the discipline things right, and someone should have been there.
Pike down the throat of Burgoyne. Ran too far, said the umpire.
Took the ball back there. That's 20 metres. That's 20 metres.
Gee, he was...
I reckon it was at top of the whistle. Time back on. Play on.
I must admit, it didn't feel like 20.
It didn't...
That is incredibly stiff.
Love to see it from the high angle to...
You burst free, you get rid of the tackle, and you kick it as soon as you steady up. I mean,
How good was the clearance too?
Oh, yeah, it was
and
great.
it went through for a goal.
And it was off the opposition ruckman as well. Roughhead with yet another handball release there. Gives it off to Hill. Hill inside 50, bad kick.
Ruff's hands tonight have been so slick. He just keeps firing them out. As sharp as you've ever seen them, Hawthorn, tonight.
Hey, Lingy, how good was Sean Burgoyne at his best around the clearances? At one time, he was the best in the comp, I reckon.
Yeah, one of the hardest I've ever played on to stop around those stoppages and those contested situations. He gets on the move, super clever, and as soon as he gets the ball in space, he's just so damaging. He almost had a slow start to his career at Hawthorn, but he's come good now. He's really damaging for them.
9 goals collectively kicked by the sides in this second quarter. There's Armstrong. Did well to keep it alive. He looks for the runner inside, and Kennedy will get the give and go here. Tony Armstrong, the boy out of Assumption College, puts it down the throat of Jeddah.
This is how Jeddah's had to get his footy tonight. He's taken a few marks on leads, but hasn't been able to get it in space and run and carry it all, and that's why they can't get it inside 50.
Yeah, what they've done is put Sam Reid loose in defence again. Richo is having no impact on the game as a forward, and margin's out to 40 points, and John Onward has had enough of that.
Pike, great tap to Gourds. Gourds had nowhere to go. O'Keefe's coming late, but in front was Duray. Boundary throw in.
Might just have to bite the bullet and play Adam Goods as a permanent forward tonight and see if he can break open the Hawthorn defence.
Jeddah, the standing start. Jesse White in the one-on-one. He gave himself the back position, then he wandered around the back when he was in front. And Hodge's been really great with his leadership tonight. Have a look at that. Those two tough nuts. Hodge wearing him like a glove. Burgoyne, high ball. Umpire said not the required journey. It basically went straight up and straight down. Shields, Puopolo, who's had a fair bit of the ball. It's his 13th touch in a half a footy. Jack, beautiful palm down by Roughhead. How good was that? That was a ripper, but Reid get back.
This is the loose man in defence, Reid, who prior to this possession has only touched it twice in a half a footy.
Smith, Nick Smith, looking for Pike, couldn't hold the mark. Bailey was able to knock it away. 24 seconds remaining. No one back for Hawthorn.
Another shallow forward 50 entry there from Sydney Swans. They just can't get through.
What about the kicking the Hawks? 11 goals, 3 in this half. Very accurate to 4-5. Sydney, very impressive indeed. Siren sounds, mark won't count. That will not count. And Sydney at a loss to work out how they can get back into this one. It was a ripper quarter from Hawthorn. They kicked 6 goals to Sydney's 3. And they lead by 40 points. And a little bit of chitter-chatter between the Sydney boys there as well.
Yeah, you know, they won't change style. They'll keep going about the game of footy the way that they have done and been so successful, but they might have to change personnel a little bit because at the moment it's not working. Let's get back down to ground level with Lingy.
Yeah, a bit of feeling down here. Great half of footy by the Hawks. 40 points up, but they know Sydney will keep on coming. I'm going to head down to the Hawthorn rooms, hear the messages, hear how they're going to drive that. Stay with us. A huge half of footy coming up.
the break, we'll head inside the rooms for the first half fallout and cross to Basil Zemplis at Footy Central to update us on the match between the Pies and the Dockers. Plus, we'll address the day's big news. Franklin, really good early in the game. He kicked 2 of the first 3 goals, 3 for the half of football so far, and a 40-point Hawthorn lead there. Very impressive indeed. Yeah, they've dominated. They've been more aggressive. They've had better structures. Their tall forward line has worked really, really well. They've been able to stretch this Sydney defence, and you can see it's Lee Tudor there just discussing with the midfield, and their key leaders just saying, hey, we really have to get cracking here, 40 points down at half-time. Yes, Cameron Ling is down in the Hawthorn rooms. Lingy, what are you seeing?
Well, the Hawks boys came straight in. They were fairly calm. They know they've got a big half of footy in front of them against the Swans. You see Luke Hodge there talking with Michael Osborne. Osborne's played a fantastic role on Malcheski, but they're just driving the key messages. They need to come out and have a big second half. The Swans will never stop coming, we know that, but the Hawks are right on top of it. Bit of whispering Lingy going on down there in the Hawks room. Richo and Sam, as we welcome you back. What did you think of Buddy's start, guys? It was electric early, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, he got involved early and kicked that big goal out on the half-forward flank. He's only had the 4 disposals, Buddy. 3 of them have been goals, so not collecting as much footy tonight, but being effective in the first half.
Yeah, it was a great start, wasn't it? Hadn't kicked the goal for 2 weeks. A lot of talk about it. Is he out of form? Is the fact that he's not signed his contract weighing on his head? You know all those discussions are going to go on, but this is a freak player and a couple of real highlights in the game, just steamrolling his way through. Thought he was sensational. His teammates really, really enjoyed it tonight. Just barged his way through. I've liked the game of Jared Ruffhead. The quick release handball, both in the middle and around the ground, the taps. He's been absolutely sharp tonight.
He certainly has, and this is what he's doing now. He's going into the middle and getting involved in the clearances, and he's a really smart player, Ruff. He's kicked the 3 goals. He set this one up for Gunston with a nice handball, and then he's getting involved there up the ground again, giving him across to Hill.
Look at that tap.
Just smart. He's a smart footballer.
And another one, a backhander. Yeah. I've definitely had a look at what went wrong last year in the grand final. They've made some changes. Ruffhead playing as a centreman at times. Taller in the forward line. They've thrown it around a little bit. Sam, Lee Matthews, what's he had to say today?
Well, the great Lee Matthews wants to actually do away with a rule that has existed as long as AFL footy has. Let's hear what he had to say.
But, I mean, there would have been heaps of goals that have grazed the post over the years. There's no video review. The umpire may see it, he may not see it, and we would never know. I agree wholeheartedly with Joe. I reckon if it goes through the opening, John, then give it a goal.
Will you champion the cause, or will you wait until see if someone else raises it?
No, I'd be absolutely happy to champion the cause.
That was an example from last night with Nick Comer, but we've got an example before us tonight. This is Luke Bruce.
So that would be a goal now?
Absolutely. That's what Lee Matthews is saying. And I know it's a break from tradition, Matthew, and that won't go down well with a whole lot of people. But I would argue that what we're seeing there with congregations of umpires, people getting around, going up to review boxes, that's more of a break from tradition for me.
So can you go back through the history of your career and reclaim all the ones that you would have got?
Retrospective stuff.
Retrospective. I mean, you might get another 30 or 40, Sam.
It raises the question. You've been on that Rules of the Game committee, Luke. Will they be open to it?
Oh, look, if Lee Matthews throws it up, they should be, and it makes sense. You know, it takes a lot of the confusion out of the umpiring decisions from a goal umpiring point of view, and I'm not sure they can help you with your out of bounds on the full, Richard. I think they're gone. Here at half-time, Hawthorn over Sydney by 40 points. Our own Sam Lane during the week caught up with a man out there that's playing in his 200th game, Brian Lake.
You're a Bulldog for 11 years. You walk in the door here. What's the first major difference that struck you?
Coming into Hawthorn now, the expectation of winning premierships and stuff like that's probably a lot greater than at that stage of the Bulldogs. And getting so close from 08, 09 and 2010, the differences of having success to the bad times, it's such a big gap. I saw the opportunities that the Bulldogs were going down a different path with youth, and Macca at that stage probably wanted to go a different way with setups of the defence. I didn't see in the coming futures and the rest of my career if I had another opportunity at the Bulldogs. Coming here required a little bit of a pay cut and more money spent on petrol and tolls as well. So
very experienced defender. Lake's got the timing right.
Brian, your physical transformation is pretty obvious. What was the heaviest you played at the Dogs?
Probably at 08, 09, it was sort of around 103, 104 kilos.
And what do you weigh now?
A fair bit lighter than that. It's probably about 96, 97 sort of kilos. Little things I used to love had to be cancelled out for a little while. This was probably lollies, were my Achilles heel.
And the hair, you've called it the Hawthorn haircut. Is it to make yourself kind of fit in with the younger crew here?
Since I've come to Hawthorn, I've changed a fair bit as a person, and the look as well, but it's probably just more that I'm starting to recede in the top part of the hair, and the hair's going grey.
Well, Brian, you've moved here to win a flag. You've got a 2-year deal, so is it going to happen within that time space?
Yeah, I don't want to be looking at premierships 3 or 4 years down the track. My knees never felt better. I must admit, it doesn't feel like I've had any injury except for the big fat scar that's on the side of my knee.
Must be a great thrill to walk in from a club that struggled a little to one that's a premiership favourite.
Yeah, he bit his tongue a little bit there, I must say, because I asked him what is the difference between being at the Dogs and at the Hawks, and that was kind of the unsaid, that he said he walked into a seriously win-at-all-cost culture.
Yeah, it's a good recruiting selection for them. They needed someone who could play on the big tools. He's not in the frame where he's going to win a flag with the Western Bulldogs. They get an early selection, so it might be one of those ones that's a win-win. Different cat, Brian. He slept in the grandstand for the first 2 nights he came to the Whitten Oval because he was a bit uncomfortable with the house that we'd arranged for him. And he was too shy to tell anyone about it, so we woke up one morning, we saw Brian awake in the grandstand. So he's come a long way in 200 games. He's been a jewel of Australia, so I'm really happy for him.
He says it was to feel the culture, but I don't know whether feel the culture or feel the cold. I don't know, but a big second half of footy to come here. And by the way, don't forget...